Not far from the village of Sundarpur, there lay a stunning forest, and within that forest stood a small village. In this village lived a young boy named Aarav. He was known for being honest and incredibly hardworking. But there was one habit that always left him feeling unsatisfied. He kept comparing himself with others. Every time he saw his friend Manav, who was always the top student, he would think, "I wish I were as smart as him." And whenever he saw his neighbor Viren, who had great wealth, he'd feel, "I wish I had as much money as him." Even when he spotted someone who could run faster than him, he'd think, "I wish I could run like that." Slowly, disappointment began to take over his life. He couldn't concentrate on his studies, and his interest in work started fading. He felt as if no matter how hard he tried, he'd never be as successful as those he constantly compared himself to. One day, a wise saint arrived in the village, someone well known for guiding people with the truths of life. When Aarav heard about this, he decided to visit the saint and talk to him. He said, "Gurudev, I work hard, truly I do. But whenever I see someone doing better, I feel low. I feel like I can never become like them. Please help me get rid of this pain." The saint smiled gently and replied, "Come to the oldest tree in the village tomorrow morning. There, you will find your answer." Though puzzled, Aarav trusted that there must be a reason behind the saint's words. The next morning, as the sun began to rise, Aarav reached the ancient tree. The saint was already there, waiting. He said to Aarav, "Look around at this forest. Tell me, what do you see?" Aarav glanced around and said, "Gurudev, I see many kinds of trees. Some are tall, some short. Some give plenty of fruits, others don't." The saint smiled again and said, "Now imagine if this mango tree began to compare itself to the coconut tree and complained about not being tall. Or if the coconut tree grumbled because it couldn't bear sweet fruits like the mango tree. Would that make any sense?" Aarav replied, "No, Gurudev, that would be foolish." The saint then asked, "All right then, how does this forest appear to you?" Aarav looked around and replied, "Very beautiful and balanced." The saint nodded and said, "That's one of life's biggest truths. Just as each tree has its own special purpose and presence, so does every human. The mango tree exists to give sweet fruits, and the coconut tree is made for height and strength. Both have different lives, yet both are equally valuable." Aarav began to understand, though a few doubts still lingered. The saint then led him toward a nearby pond, where many fish were swimming. Pointing to a bird in the sky, he asked, "If this fish began to complain that it cannot fly like the bird, would that be fair?" Aarav replied, "Not at all. The fish is born to swim, and the bird to fly." The saint smiled once more and said, "Then why do you want to be like someone else? Your path is yours alone. You too have qualities that others do not." That moment brought a realization to Aarav's heart. He understood that each person carries unique strengths. Comparing oneself with others only invites misery. From that day on, Aarav stopped comparing and instead turned his focus inward, on his own strengths and weaknesses. He found that working according to his natural abilities brought him a deep sense of satisfaction. Slowly, his confidence returned, and he began seeing his life through a new lens. Years later, Aarav's hard work led him to build a successful business. He became one of the most respected and inspiring figures in Sundarpur. And whenever anyone asked him about the secret behind his success, he'd smile and say, "Never compare yourself with others. If a fish tries to fly, it will always fail. But if it masters swimming, it can rule the ocean." And comparing yourself is like wanting the sun and moon to shine together. Both have their own time, their own light. Focus on your journey. Recognize your strength and create your own path to success. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to The Story Seeker. Until next time, keep believing in your own journey.